What 3 things would I tell myself 15 years ago about drawing? If I had a time machine, the opportunity, and restrained myself from punching any younger version of me for all the mistakes that I know he's going to make. The following are those 3 things, and it's part of a larger video that I made about drawing, writing, creativity, and being an artist. And you can see that in the link up here. And now let's fly back into the past where I'm talking about these things and wearing a far fluffier sweater. Also like and subscribe, that's helpful. Thanks. The drawing category, 3 tips. Loosen up. When I was young, I thought what you laid down was finished lines. Having seen many final drawings, but never having seen the process, it made me assume that what was happening when you were drawing is you were laying down final, clean lines, and the skill in drawing was knowing where to put that line. But that's not really true, and attempting to do it that way made my drawings very stiff and lifeless. The beginning of the drawing process is the finding. You lay down rough, light lines all over the place, and you scribble, sometimes without even taking the pencil up off the page. You also hold the pencil on the end, on the back, instead of up here on the front, like when you're writing, in order to keep the lines gestural and rough, and avoiding the temptation to be detailed and precise. I like these little short mechanical pencils for that. Because at this stage, what you're doing is finding the form. Think of it like a drawing that is buried underneath sand. You don't take a tiny little toothbrush to uncover it piece by piece. You need to locate it by getting rid of as much sand as possible, and then the detailed cleanup can be done after you have figured out roughly where your boundaries are. That's really what we're doing when we're drawing. We're scribbling in order to provide a map of possibilities upon which we can find our final lines. So, loosen up. Draw something and then fix it. This one is related to the first, but it's still separate enough to merit its own tip. Do not fear mistakes. In fact, make as many mistakes as you can, as fast as you can, to get them out of your system. For this reason, I believe in drawing an illustration really quickly, as quickly as I can the first time around. Writer's block, artist block, drawing block, creative block, whatever you want to call the block, it happens because of the fear of making a mistake. It's the fear of not getting it right. And so, problem solved. Do it wrong. And this is not a waste of time. As soon as you have done something wrong and you can see it, you can start to piece together why it's wrong. And you'll have a better sense of what you should avoid and what you should do in order to get it right. So draw something and then fix it. It is much easier to fix a bad idea that you see on paper than it is to formulate a good idea just in the abstract void of your mind. Draw from life. I have met a disturbing number of illustrators who claim that they do not draw from life because they draw from imagination. What it is that they think populates their imagination, I cannot begin to conceive. This seems to me rather like refusing to accumulate any materials because you're going to be building a house, not beams of wood. One of them is rather helpful for that which follows. Our imagination owes the bulk of its prowess to the things that we see in the world. But as has already been mentioned about our brain's efficiency measures, we tend to skirt over the reality that surrounds us. Drawing from life is fundamentally the antithesis of this. It forces you to carefully consider things that your brain instinctively categorizes as mundane. Through drawing from life, you come to understand shape, light, perspective, how objects and shapes relate to each other in reality. By drawing real people, you learn just how non-rigid the human body is. You also learn how emotions translate into body language. I think a lot of artists are tempted to skip the drawing from life because it's really easy to tell when you've done it wrong. And if this is something that you never or rarely do, it is going to look pretty bad for a while. Whereas if I'm drawing from imagination, I have no real basis of comparison. And that gives me the opportunity to chalk it up to a deliberate design choice. The classic safety phrase for any artist is, yeah, that's what I was going for. But see, I have a solution to this. Draw from life every day. Find some object, scene, room, person to sketch and spend 10-20 minutes just doing that every single day in a sketchbook. And don't show them to anyone. Keep those sketches to yourself, removing the burden of having to explain the quality or lack thereof to anyone. Do it just to become a better artist and for no other reason. Learn to read reality by studying it through drawing. I hope you enjoyed that section. Again, the full video is here. More of these coming up. Watch something else on the channel. I won't stop you. Tell your friends about these videos, and especially your enemies. I think they really need it.